Did the 3 day dry fast. Day three, I wasn't hungry. And so I was like, I'm just gonna see how long I can go without eating. I kid you not. I weighed myself on one Friday. The next Friday, I was 40 pounds lighter.
Crazy.
After I was originally on here, I had lost my dad. Both of
Mm.
my grandparents had died. I had lost an uncle. So there was a lot of funerals that I attended. And so you start eating yourself into oblivion. And next thing I know, I'm 285 pounds.
I always tell people don't get into that mentality where it's like I can eat bad and just fast it away because yeah, you might be able to maintain your weight, but your health will still decline.
I remember being in the bed. I'll never forget it. I was just like, God, just take me out of my misery. I was like,
Dang.
yeah, I was in so much pain. I ended up in the hospital because the infection had gotten so bad it was about to become sepsis.
Yeah.
I get out of the hospital and end up with pneumonia.
All right, y'all. Y'all already know who I am, Chris James. This is a healthy alternative. Listen, we got a very, very special guest. You guys know him. Yeah, it's been a little while since he's been on the show, but I think you were definitely one of my first guests. I think you were my first guest from the community, like that I actually didn't know personally.
Mm.
So I'm very pleased to welcome back Justin Howell. Thank you for coming and spending some time with us. We got a lot to unpack. It's been a couple of years since you've been on the show. You've had some ups, some downs, some tragic things happen, and I saw you maybe a couple months ago or something like that on Facebook, and I reached out just to see how you were doing and everything. And I'm like, bro, we gotta capture this information and kind of, unpack it a little bit. So once again, Justin Howell, thank you for being on the show today, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Glad to be back.
Man, time goes by so fast. Do you know when the last time we actually did an interview? Do you know how long ago it was?
It was some years ago, and because I was still living in South Carolina at the time, so it was a few years ago. Columbia, South Carolina, I'll never forget it. Um, yeah, and that was it.
Yeah. Man, so a lot has happened, I'm sure, in both of our lives, but let's because there's gonna be a lot of people that really don't know who you are, crazy
Right.
enough. You know what I'm saying? Like you actually have one of the videos that's like one of my top viewed videos, but since the last time we've talked, we've brought in, tens of thousands of people, lots of new people. So what I would like to do is briefly kind of go back a little bit to your beginning, your genesis, if you will, and we'll kind of unpack that just more briefly. If people want to hear the whole story, they can go and look at the original videos.
Mhm.
And then we'll kind of look at that time period where we just weren't really in communication and look at like what happened. And then we'll kind of catch up to where we are today. So, Justin, if you don't mind, like when we originally started to interact, and I know the details may be a little fuzzy. I don't know. It's been like 10 years.
Yeah, it's
But
been a while.
do you remember where you were, like as far as your weight and what were you looking to accomplish at that time?
So at that time, I was 26. So that's about 11 years ago because I just turned 37. Um,
Crazy.
I was 26. I was 405 pounds. I remember going back and forth to Columbia, South Carolina, to visit my grandparents on my dad's side. So I was going to visit them. And one day I had taken a nap at my grandfather's house. And apparently it disturbed him so bad because he was like, yo, you calling all the animals in the animal kingdom, all just snoring. So I said, man, that's kind of disrespectful. But then he looked at me and said to me, you are in your 20s. He said, you're overweight, you can't breathe, you got all of this stuff going on. He said, you're gonna die if you don't change.
Mm,
And so at 26, 405 pounds, when I left Columbia, I drove from Columbia to a city called Simpsonville, South Carolina, which is nearly 2 hours out, to join a gym because there
mm.
were no gyms in the city that I lived in, which is, yeah,
Wow.
Clinton. Clinton, South Carolina, there were no gyms. There was like the YMCA, but their schedule didn't match my schedule. And it's not really a gym like that. So there were no gyms in the city. And so I had to drive to a city that was 30 minutes away from where I lived to join a gym. And from that point, it was just like staying on it. And then I got into fasting, intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, and all of that kind of stuff. And so from that point on, I ended up dropping over 200 pounds in my first iteration. So that's
Mm.
kind of how things got started for me.
Well, I don't think you told me that before that your gym was so far like that.
Yeah.
That I think that's an important piece because people make excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they like as soon as they get an opportunity, they'll make an excuse. And I think when you're really ready to make change, when you're really sick and tired of being sick and tired, you just do it.
Yeah, you'll do what needs to be done because at that time I was still working in the city that I grew up in, and so there was really no need for me to go that way that far out other than going to the gym. But that
Hmm.
was the closest gym
Mm.
at the time from where I was living. So I was like, hey, if I got to drive 30 minutes one way to work out and drive back, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Now, once again, just to kind of capture that moment, like when you lost that 200 pounds, you remember like what method were you using? I know you were fasting. How often were you going to the gym and like what type of fasting were you doing?
So I was going to the gym every day. Except maybe Sunday. But if I was in Greenville on a Sunday, I made sure that I had some gym clothes packed just in case coming back from Greenville, South Carolina, that I could stop in by the gym in Simpsonville.
Mm,
But so the kind of fasting that I was used to actually was dry fasting.
mm,
I wasn't familiar with water fasting actually until I became part of the healthy alternative community on Facebook. And I was like, wait a minute, water fasting, I've never heard of water fasting, like a fasting, you're just not eating or drinking anything. So at the time I would do dry fasting. Once I started learning about water fasting, I did start doing water fasting because I was working out. And,
mm,
working out, you kind of sort of sometimes need to sip on some water or something. So I started water fasting. I had gone at that time as long as 14 days.
mm,
I hadn't gone anything past 14 days. I had done 7 days dry before. But like when it comes to just water only, I had done about 14. I had done 14 days water fasting. And so that was it. So I was doing that and cooperating, of course, healthy eating at that time. I hadn't gone vegan yet. So I was eating like a protein and greens and was burning like 15 calories in a workout. So I don't even know how that was. I don't know. I really can't remember, but I was doing like, I know I was doing hour-long hit sessions. So I would put that treadmill on 15 incline and I would run as fast as I could going up that treadmill for like 30 seconds and then put it down to jogging and then put it all the way back down to walking. And I would do that cycle literally for an hour. And then I would hit weights. So it was very, because I was trying to get that weight off of me because my granddad had literally petrified me when he said, "You're going to die if you don't change." And
yeah,
so I was doing everything that I could. At that time I was consuming like 1,200 calories and burning 1,500. So I was in a negative a lot.
mm,
And I remember one week, I kid you not, I it was like I dropped almost 40. I don't know how it happened. I
yeah,
promise you. I weighed myself on one Friday. The next Friday I was 40 pounds lighter.
crazy.
I don't know if my body was just waiting to drop all the weight at one time because the scale didn't move for like a minute. And then
Mm.
next thing I know, I had weighed myself. I was like at 340 pounds. And then bam, the next week I was at 300 pounds.
Crazy.
I cannot, I promise you I'm not lying. It was
Oh, I
weird.
know.
It was weird. I said, okay. I'm like, how in the world from last week to this week this happened? this happened, but I was in an extreme caloric deficit.
Right.
Um,
Plus, you were fasting at that time.
yeah, I was fasting, so it was a lot of things that played a part. But I was having to buy clothes every week because I was losing um waist size like crazy every week. So yeah, that process then was very interesting. A lot of the stuff that I did then I would never do now, but
Hmm.
it was crazy.
We were definitely in a learning phase, man. Like all of us back then, that was the
Yeah,
beginning. You know,
yeah.
when you came on and you talked about your dry fasting, like I was aware of dry fasting. I don't think I had done dry fasting when you talked about it. And I was studying it, but I was a little nervous about dry fasting, about teaching it. And I actually didn't end up teaching dry fasting until maybe 2, 3 years later.
Mhm.
But I personally did dry fasting. I think it was about a year and a half later, something like
Mhm.
that. And I had a great experience with it. Actually, I don't even know if you knew this, but like so between the time when we did our first interview and the Dallas event, I
Mhm.
had done dry fasting and I had just come off of the dry fasting like right before the event. So maybe like it might have been like a couple months before the event,
Yeah,
but like I couldn't put weight back on after that. So
yeah.
I was really small at the event. Like
Yeah,
I
you
felt
was a
like a leaf blowing
beanpole.
in the wind.
Yeah, you was a beanpole. I remember that. I said,
Yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah. I know. Like I had that Dr. Sabi going back then. But man, it's so interesting hearing your story again because even now I'm hearing new elements of it. Um, so you ended up losing over 200 pounds,
Yeah.
and then I know you were still doing you were still like lifting weights. You had changed your lifestyle. You went vegan, and you
Hmm.
were even doing some wellness coaching and speeches and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
How long were you able to maintain? Because that's everybody always asks me, Chris. Okay, they lost 100 pounds, 200 pounds. They're just gonna gain it all back. How long were you able to maintain that?
I maintained that up until 2019. 2019, I started noticing the scale going up, 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 up. Now I carried on my weight well because I was still working out.
Okay.
But I started eating, and especially when I went to Vegas in 2019 before that whole pandemic happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in Vegas, I ate everything not nailed when there was so many vegan options, and there was a lot of
Really?
there was an entire vegan Chinese restaurant.
I didn't know
I
that.
said, "Ooh, I'm gonna go there," and I ate so I ate so much food. Like the vegan restaurants there, because I'm from a small town.
Mm,
Uh, there was quite a few, and there was quite a few like anything soul food that you could get. They had a restaurant in Vegas that you could pretty much eat the same thing, and it's all vegan. And
mm,
people assume that because it's vegan, it's healthy, but no.
right.
Um, I had a whole fried Oreo something. I got pictures, but it was like a whole fried Oreo something. And I said, "Ooh, I love Oreos, and this is a vegan restaurant, so it's not going to really be that bad." And so, like, I was just eating and eating and eating. Um, but like again, I carried the weight well because I was working out and stuff.
Mm,
But I noticed when I moved to Georgia, it's like the weight that started. It just skyrocketed at that point because you're in the South. You start meeting people and hanging out and all that kind of stuff, and everything is centered around food.
yeah.
Um, there's a seafood boil place on every corner. There's vegan restaurants everywhere. There's soul food restaurants everywhere. There's just restaurants everywhere. And so I started eating, and next thing I know, I'm 285 pounds.
Mm,
I said, yikes. And so it was a few years that things started happening because I would try to like catch myself and
mm,
go and like pull myself in. But then when I moved to Georgia in 2022, 2023, yeah, it'll be 3 years next year. So I moved to Georgia in 2023, and started gaining and it would not come back down.
Mm,
So I was like, I have got to. I had reverted back to old habits.
mm.
Um, so even now, as much as I am, healthy and not eating all the sugar and stuff, I love candy. It took a lot for me to break those airhead bites, well, airheads, period.
Yeah.
Airheads, gummies, any type of gummy candy, airheads, all Skittle candy. I love. I got out of eating chocolate a lot because at my first iteration, I was eating like chocolate chip cookies and Oreos and all that kind of stuff and ice cream. And then this iteration, it was airheads.
Mm.
I'm like, what is happening to me? And so, yeah, but it was like over a span of 19, 20, 21, 22, 20, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, like a span of 4 years, I had started gaining the weight back.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's man, it's okay. So like as I'm listening to you, what's coming to mind is people, because like I said, people always ask, well, how long? Or no, like people, I did a whole video where there's somebody had commented under one of my videos that was like, yeah, you could lose 100 pounds, you're just gonna gain it all back. And I kind of addressed it, but I think what it boils down to is you're going to keep the weight off as long as you maintain your new lifestyle. Like
right,
whatever you did to lose the weight, as long as you not necessarily like intense fasting per se, but it really
right,
boils down to what you eat.
right.
Yeah. And it sounds like you fell into the vegan trap, which is like, hey, it's vegan. You know what I'm saying? No
Yep,
holds barred, right?
yep,
And I mean, that's what the marketing is for. The marketing was designed to make vegan sound healthy, but then it's funny you mentioned the Oreo because
mhm,
when I was learning about veganism, when they said Oreos were vegan, that was it for me. I was like, oh, something's up.
yeah,
Because I knew from my research, like highly processed refined foods just weren't good.
yeah,
So when they're like, "Hey, Oreos are vegan. We can have Oreos," I was just like, "Ooh, something shady about this."
yeah,
And I actually started to distance myself from the term vegan because a lot of people
yeah,
just assumed I was vegan.
mhm,
Yeah. So you basically you sound like you did some moving. So
mhm,
you probably got out of your groove. You were
yep,
probably in a groove. You're doing your thing. You started to travel more. I know
mhm,
you were doing speaking engagements.
yep,
So what's I think important for us to understand is your lifestyle expanded and changed as your weight and you got healthier. Like
mhm,
things changed. And
yeah,
so that's something that people need to look out for. Like as your lifestyle changes, you got to actively be making adjustments like get yourself recentered.
right.
Yeah.
Because when I left South Carolina, yeah, I'm just now, and I've been in Georgia almost 3 years. I'm just now getting my equilibrium because this city can literally just suck you in. Um, when I was much more active in South Carolina than I was in Georgia, and I'm just now starting to get that same momentum back.
Mhm.
So yeah, you definitely have to make conscious decisions to when moving around like I was doing, and moving to another state, you have to make sure that you maintain the life that you had before you came.
Yeah. And can I assume that you were around a different friend group too? Like you're hanging out with
Yeah,
different people?
yeah.
Yeah.
And the people here, there's a term we like to chew. And so literally everything, there's a dinner for everything.
Mm.
You have a birthday, there's a dinner. There's a graduation, there's a dinner. Whatever achievement, there's a dinner. And so you have to be very conscious. And then there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to be very conscious of what you're intaking still
Hmm.
at all these dinners because, things can happen.
Yeah. So when you okay, so in Georgia, was your biggest 285? Or
Yeah. So
okay.
when I left South Carolina, I was hovering right at 200 pounds.
Okay.
So I pretty much I stayed at 200 pounds.
That's pretty good
I
still.
got to
Yeah.
Georgia, I gained a whole 85 pounds in a matter of a year. Yeah.
Mm. So between, I guess, when you started and when you had got to your maximum, your the 285, had you completely stopped fasting, or were you still? Because like me, I always maintain like a maybe like a 1 meal a day, or sometimes I'll eat 2 meals, just depends. Had you just kind of like it wasn't just the fact that you were kind of going out and eating, but
Mhm.
you weren't doing any fasting or anything like that either.
No, not really. So I would probably do like a 24-hour fast because I would feel bad about how much I had eaten. And so
Hmm.
I would do like a 24-hour fast to kind of um quote unquote bring me into my caloric happy place, I guess.
Right.
So like if I ate a lot this day, I was like, okay, well just need to fast tomorrow. And then, you know, so if I'm eating 4,000 calories today, I fast tomorrow, I'm not consuming anything, so then it should balance everything out that
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
so but no, I was eating I was definitely doing more eating than fasting and
Yeah.
eating a lot of unhealthy things out
Mm.
on top of that. So there's nothing wrong with eating, but what you're consuming, especially if it's like you said, highly refined processed foods and junk and all of that kind of stuff. Because there were days that only thing that I would eat, like since I've been in Georgia, cake and ice cream.
Oh, wow.
The I Publix, what's them cakes from Publix? Publix coconut cake, because coconut cake has always been my favorite. A Publix coconut cake would hate to see me coming. Man, a Publix coconut cake, and then again, Oreo was my favorite cookie. So they had an Oreo cake
Mm.
at Publix, and I would sit there and and that would be my meal for the day. And
Okay.
so when you are consuming all of the sugar and bread and oil, like these oils and all that kind of stuff, it's nothing for you to just pack on the pounds. And so
Hmm.
I was gaining weight very fast because although I only had cake and ice cream, the cake is 800 calories and the ice cream is another 1,300. And
Hmm.
then I discovered Brewster's, the ice cream place. And so I would get 4 scoops of ice cream, 2 butter pecan, and 2 cookies and cream, and that is a crazy mixture on a waffle cone. And
Oh
I
yeah.
would eat there like 2, 3 times a week.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so the pounds were packing on very fast.
Okay, two questions.
Hmm.
First one is, what was your water intake like? And then the second question is, in the back of your head, were you like, it's all good, I could just fast it away? Was it like you like in the back of your head, you're eating this, you're like, yeah, I know I shouldn't, but you're like, I just fast it away. Was that like the mentality?
Actually, it wasn't. Um, Not the fasting away part. But like I was drinking maybe 40. I had gotten down to like drinking 40 ounces of water a day. So
Mm,
that's not really that much. Um, After I had moved here, um, I joined the gym, but I wasn't going as much because I was well, like when I moved here, it's like my working just increased crazily, and so I was so busy working, and then like I wouldn't get finished with work until late, and then I had other activities that I was doing, and so I would get to the gym sometimes at midnight, and sleeping patterns were off. I was getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a day,
mm,
running a crazy schedule. Um, so that was that. But like the eating and fasting get away, I didn't think that I could fast it away, but I knew in the back of my head that I needed to start fasting to get all these sugar cravings because I'm like, I'm like, I know I got parasites.
mm.
And we'll get to that later, but I'm like, I know I got parasites. I'm eating all the sugar. Like my sleep is off. I was like, something. I was like, I knew that I needed to do to incorporate some fasting again and ditch all of that sugar, but at the time I didn't have the discipline to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, like I wanted to, I want, because sometimes I talk about what I call it, abusing fasting,
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, I lost X amount of weight, 50 pounds, 100 pounds. I'm eating McDonald's, but it's all good. I could, and I have a friend when we very first started like fasting, my
Mhm.
friend circle and everything, he would do that. Like that was his thing. He was like, I'll just fast. And at first I'm like, yeah, I guess you can. But then what I noticed is like it doesn't work out. Like it's the
Right,
mentality. You know what I'm saying? It's you can't maintain it because it's like the mentality is wrong, it's flawed. And
right.
so I always tell people don't get into that mentality where it's like I can eat bad and just fast it away because yeah, you might be able to maintain your weight, but your health will still decline. And then of course the mental health declines with it as well.
Yeah, because that
So
stuff, like the chemicals and stuff in like this McDonald's stuff and all these fast food chains,
hmm
it does something with your brain for sure. Because
hmm
although you may have the mindset of I can fast it off, something about the consumption of that stuff kind of sort of makes it much more difficult.
Right.
So you hear stuff like, "Oh, I can't stop eating all this fast food and all of this unhealthy stuff, and I try to fast, but I can't make it past 4 hours." Or like I can't do a full 24-hour fast because of the cravings. The cravings of the food is like it calls you, and it makes it much more difficult to fast, so it's just better to leave it.
So you know you're basically you're in a new environment, your lifestyle has changed, your friend group has changed, your you know like everything is really changing and I wanted to highlight that because a lot of people think oh you just you know because you I mean you did an amazing thing, right? The
Mhm.
original 200 pounds you lost was that's the it's either the most weight we've seen or it's like the second most. I think somebody else,
Mhm.
you know, but like that's crazy, right?
Right.
And then people are like, oh, you're just going to gain it all back. But it's like, no, you didn't just gain it all back. There was a reason why.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure we highlighted that because people act like, oh, you just, no, it's like there's a reason why.
Mhm.
So now you're back at the 285 and you've decided, okay, you want to make the changes. Take me to where you were mentally at that point. Like, what were your goals? What were you experiencing? Like, what was it that caused you to be like, all right, I'm not getting to 300. We gotta start making changes.
I started going to I started going to stores and certain pant sizes one fitting. When I picked up a 2X shirt,
Mm,
and I was wearing mediums at the time. Well, I had gotten down to a medium. When I picked up a 2X shirt, I said, uh-uh. I can't do this again. Because at my heaviest, I was like wearing 4 and 5X.
hmm
And I was like in a size 58 pants. So I was like, I can't. When I saw that a size 40, I was in a size 46, I said no.
hmm
So on a whim, I said I'm going to do a 3-day dry fast. This was in December of last year.
Okay.
But before we get to that, after I was originally on here, I had lost my dad. Both of
Mm,
my grandparents had died. I had lost an uncle. So there was a lot of funerals that I attended. Um, and so I was like, ooh. And so you start eating yourself into oblivion.
yeah.
Um, December of last year, though, I was like, okay, I got to do something to kind of snap my body back in shape. This is going to be a little TMI, but you know that itching at the end of your rectum, at your rectum, though, that's parasites.
Mm,
And I kept, it was like I was always itching there,
mm,
itching there. And I was like, I got parasites. I having brain fog. I can't get, I'm just my mind is all over the place. I would go to bed and sleep like 8 hours or so from time to time, and my brain is still in full function. Like I'm
mhm,
solving problems and all like literally while I'm asleep, but then when I wake up, I'm still tired because
mhm.
I'm not resting. I'm
Right.
just eyes closed, but my brain is still running. Like I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to pay that, I got to make sure that that's handled. I got to do like literally the whole night while I'm sleeping. And so I'll never forget in December the 15th is when I started the fast. December the 15th, I said, okay, I was like, enough is enough. I'm eating sugar like I don't know what, like cakes and pies and chips and candy and anything that you could fry, like French fries and all kind of stuff and onion ring, just eating horribly. And I said, I have got to get myself together. And so I said I was going to do a 3 day fast, a 3 day dry fast. Did the 3 day dry fast, day three. By this time, this is the December the 18th. I wasn't hungry. And
Mm.
so I said, well, let me listen to my body because if I'm not hungry, then I shouldn't be eating. And so um, I went another day and another day. So I ended up doing 7 days dry. After the 7 days, after the 7 days, I didn't feel the itching anymore. My brain kind of got, I was able to be, I was more cognizant. My sleep was better and all of that. And so I was like, I'm just gonna see how long I can go without eating. And
Okay.
so I started juicing. And so I was making all kind of like watermelon juice, and I was integrating sea moss into it just for the extra minerals and nutrition. And so I was juicing with sea moss. Um, People ask me like, what kind of juice you make? I was making watermelon juice. I live around the corner from the farmers market, so they would make fresh juices. Sometimes, if I wanted to be lazy and not make my own juice, I would go there and they had the ingredients on there: pineapple and ginger, or oranges, or Fiji apples, beet. Like they had everything that was listed in
Mm.
that juice, so I know I was getting fresh juice, and it had the date that it was created, which would be like within 2 days. So when I was lazy, I would do that. But I was doing Asian pears and burdock root. So I would buy the actual burdock root and juice it, and I would juice Asian pears with it. Asian pears, like a, I don't know if you've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Asian pears and burdock root, I was making that with sea moss. That's very high in fiber, so you would definitely run to the bathroom. Um, Sea moss, not sea moss, soursop juice. Um,
Hmm.
because of the farmers market that I go to, like literally, they have like soursop in abundance. You can just buy the soursop and you know juice it.
Nice.
I was having, of course, watermelon juice. I was making apple juice. I was just making juices, and I did that from the second week in December up until January. So it's like literally 30, almost 30 days of just juicing.
Mm.
After that, and so people, I started telling them, I was like, hey, I'm not sick. I'm on a fast. I'm a little past 30 days now. But even in that time when I was juicing, I would still incorporate like a 24-hour dry fast.
Okay.
Or I would do 3 days of just water. So it was like a hybrid type of fasting where I went from dry fasting to juicing to water.
Mm.
Dry fasting, juicing, and water during that 30-day period from December to January. So it was like January 17th when I did my last juice fast.
Okay.
And so after that, I just started eating raw fruit and vegetables. Like I didn't eat anything cooked. So I was eating a lot of plums. I was eating a lot of apples, seeded grapes, the oranges. I was just eating a lot of those fruit. I would have an avocado here or there because avocado is a fruit, people. I was eating avocado, and when I was in the juicing phase, I would mix. I would juice greens as well.
Okay.
There was a time that, and it was disgusting, but it was necessary. Juicing kale, spinach, and cucumber.
Mm. Yeah, that's
Um,
rough.
Ew. That was the nastiest thing. And so then I would incorporate like a green apple, and the green apple didn't really do much of anything, but I thought it would. But it was nasty. It was nasty. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
it was nasty.
Yeah, that's rough.
But so I literally did like 60 days of fasting from December up until February. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
And this all sparked from that 3 day dry fast. You just got a little taste,
Yeah.
and then every your muscle memory kicked in.
Yeah, it was like I just snapped. I was like, okay, 3 day. And those 3 days were probably harder than it was when I first started doing fasting.
Mm,
Um, it was much harder. Like I was like, oh God, there was like a day I just couldn't get out of bed. I was
mm,
like, I'm tired. I'm s- I can't move. I can't do anything. So I'm just going to lay. And so I just laid in bed for like 24 hours. That was the hardest, and I was having crazy hunger pains.
mm,
And so it's literally something that I had to fight. I had to fight through those 3 days because the crazy thing is I had hunger pains within the first 24 to 36 hours, but then after the 36 hours, it was just like, okay, I can do this. The hunger
uh-huh.
pains went down, and then after day three, I wasn't hungry. So I'm like, let's see how far my body is going to take me. And so 60 days.
60 days, man. You've always been extreme. I'm gonna tell you that. Like you you've always gone hard. Um,
Yeah.
so I did want to mention this because you mentioned hybrid fasting. I
Mm.
don't know if you remember, but the first time we ever talked about hybrid fasting, you had mentioned something like this, right? And you
Yeah.
were like, "Yeah, I call it hybrid fasting." And I said, "Hey, Justin, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm taking that. Like,
Yeah.
I made a whole challenge out of it. Like, I got a
Yeah.
whole challenge out of hybrid fasting now. We actually just did it um,
Mhm.
last month."
Yeah.
And it's just a really great technique for, okay, like the way that I do it is I'll use juice, water, and dry,
Hmm.
and I piece it together to where you give your body what it wants around the time when it starts craving it. So like you start off with like water, for example, and then you'll go into dry. Right. I say start with water, get yourself hydrated well, go into dry, and then when you dry fast, you really just want water. So then you
Yeah.
come off the dry fast with water, and then water kind of starts to wake your appetite up a little bit. So then you have a little juice, and
Hmm.
then we have a eat day in there, but we
Yeah.
only eat raw, which I find it interesting. That's what you decide to do. You ate raw.
Hmm.
And then once you eat raw, you feel a little sated, but you haven't really lost any progress because, as you know, when you eat raw, the inflammation still goes down, the body
Yeah.
still heals, and then you go back into doing water and kind of starts all over again. And
Yeah.
I think it's just super successful. Depending on how you do it, you can kind of like determine how intense it is.
Right.
But um, it's just you lose lots of weight and all of that stuff. But I'm curious. So 60, essentially 60 days, you're doing this hybrid thing. What type of weight loss were you seeing? Was it comparable to what you were doing before as far as weight loss, or was it slower? Like what were you experiencing?
It blew my first experience completely out of the water.
Really?
There were days I know 3 days. I had lost 15 pounds within 3 days
Mm.
at one point of the fast. Now, of course, the longer I went, it kind of slowed down.
Hmm.
But after those 60 days, I had gone from 285 to 190
Mm.
in those 60 days. I had lost all I had gotten down to 190 in
That's
those 60
crazy.
days. And then yeah, after that, so my lightest in this last iteration was 166. I got down to
Okay.
166. And I was like, ooh, my it was bad. Like my when my brother saw me, because of course we'll get into that too, because I was sick. I had gotten sick.
Right, right, right.
Um when my brother saw me, he cried
Mm.
because he thought that I had cancer.
Mm.
Because our uncle and our dad, he was like, "You look just like our uncle and our dad that died from cancer." And he was just crying. He
Mm.
cried. He was like, "I need for you if you don't have any." He said, "I need for you to gain a couple of pounds back." But I was like, I had no muscle. I had no net. I was a bean pole.
Yeah.
And it was even shocking to me. And even when I laugh about it now. Because my mother was like, "Yeah, you was looking rough. I didn't want to say anything." She was like, "You was looking." She was like, "I was like, oh, like my baby is." She was like, "My baby is fading away." I was really tiny, but I
Hmm.
did end up getting sick, and we can talk about that whenever you ready. But it wasn't. I didn't get sick from fasting.
Okay.
So let me put that out there. Actually, during the fast, and I had mentioned it to you, but I had been diagnosed with what is it called? Periodontal periodontal disease, where your gum recedes and you lose the
Mm.
bone um in your um in your gums, and so essentially it'll make your teeth fall out.
Mm.
When I initially went to the doctor in 2021, the dentist, they wanted to pull right off the top 10 teeth.
Wow.
They wanted to pull 10 teeth, and they wanted to pull all of my molars, and they wanted to pull like several of I said, I'm not about to go around here looking like a piano.
Bruh.
So like just
Bruh.
piano mouth. I said, I'm not doing that. And so she was like, "You've lost," the dentist, she was like, "You've lost so much bone." And she was like, "There's 10 of your teeth right now that needs to be pulled." Like she was literally just rocking them.
Mm.
She only pulled one tooth, and that was because I was in so much pain. I apparently have a high tolerance for pain. I had a toothache every day for like 4 months.
Wow.
This was back in 2021, 2022. It was because my wisdom tooth was pushing up against my back molar.
Right.
And I had no cavities or anything. It was just the way the wisdom tooth grew in. It was pushing up, and the molar was sitting on the nerve. So no pain medication or anything could really help it. They had to the dentist when I went to her finally, after me laying in the floor on a Friday night all night long, because it was like somebody was taking a hammer and just beating the side of my mouth with it.
Yeah.
Um, and my gums would bleed all the time.
Mm.
And so yeah, they pulled that tooth, and she was like, "You got periodontal disease, and there's nothing that can be done about it." I was like, "Oh, but there is."
Ooh.
Um, so when I did the 60-day fast, I noticed like my gums were itching real bad. I didn't pay it that much attention. I'm like, "But why are my gums itching so much?"
Yeah.
And like, of course, I was still like trying to rinse my mouth out with salt water, because I'm like, I am not going to get 10 teeth pulled.
Right.
And but I was still bleeding. My gums were still bleeding profusely, like terribly.
Mm.
And, I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna wait this out. One morning, I think it was like on day 15 to day 20 of the first iteration of my fast. Um, I woke up and I went to the bathroom to do something, and I looked in the mirror, and my mouth was red with blood.
Mm.
So I was like, "Oh God, my teeth!" And I like literally had a like I don't know if I was like hallucinating or what, because during that time I started like having all kind of dreams and visions and all kind of stuff.
Wow.
And so I was like, "Well, maybe this is a dream." I was like, "But no, this is not a dream." And so then, like, I rinsed my mouth out with salt water. My gums had swollen. I don't know if it was like the blood pooling or whatever. But after that, from that day to this, I have not had another gum bleed.
Mm.
And I've noticed that my gums are starting to grow back. My gums
Man.
have started growing back. And I said, "Oh, so I won't have to," because like you could literally almost see the bottom of my teeth, like all of them.
Right.
You could like my teeth were looking this long. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, wait a minute. I don't think I'm supposed to be showing that much teeth." But like I've noticed that my gums are starting to grow back, and I have not had a gum bleed from that day to this. And
Wow.
that was in
That's
January.
a long time. That's like 6 months.
Yeah, I have not had, and my gums were bleeding every day. I have not,
Wow.
like, I brush my teeth and do all of that and floss, and like even flossing, I was like, I would just see blood just pouring out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I floss, I water pick on 10. I couldn't water pick past 4 before, but I do it on the highest max, and I don't bleed.
Mm.
So like that is completely healed. I don't know if I can use
That's
the term,
so
but it's
huge,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Cause like you said, they'll tell you, hey, there's nothing you could do. Nobody has like very few people have solutions. I've come across some doctors. There's a dentist, a holistic dentist. I have her book, but I don't remember her name. But she talks about how to regrow teeth or heal the teeth and the gums and things of that nature. But she's the only one of that caliber that I found that talk about it.
Mm.
Some wellness practitioners talk about it, but what
Yaki
you did.
Awakening talks about it.
Yaki, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Yaki is the real deal, man. Yeah, Yaki, yeah, Yaki,
Man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the real deal. Um, but that's incredible, man. Like just to
Yeah.
have that story, that experience, because there's plenty of people that have receding gums. Like that's a common thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Because people don't floss. Um, People don't brush properly. And the what really aggravated me about the dentist that I had gone to, and I ended up not even going back to her. I went to another dentist. Because she said to me, I kid you not. Well, we need to schedule a time for you to have those teeth extractions, and then after that, I'll show you how to properly have oral care. So you want to pull 10 teeth out of my head, like the old people say. You want to pull 10 teeth out of my head, and then you want to tell me how to properly do oral care? Absolutely not. But that like her showing me how to properly do oral care was hinged on me getting those 10 teeth pulled, and then I was like, no.
That's crazy. She's like dangling in front of you, like get the teeth
Yeah,
pulled, and then I'll show you.
I'm not Boo Boo the fool. Like, are
That's
you
crazy.
crazy? You're not pulling 10 teeth out of my you're not doing it. And
Yeah,
so I refused, and she didn't tell me how to properly so I was like, something about this is off because
bruh.
you're supposed to be helping me,
Right,
and you want to pull 10 teeth and then tell me I don't have any teeth at this. I'm like, I ain't got no teeth to care for at this point. So what are you going to be telling me to do?
right.
So yeah, but yeah, that was crazy. So I ended up leaving her and going to somebody else that told me the same thing, that I needed 10 teeth pulled. I'm saying I'm not getting 10 teeth pulled. You want to pull those one and I'll work out the rest. She was like, well, it's only going to get worse. I said, well, whatever.
Yeah. So from that situation with the gum disease, is that what ended up landing you in the hospital, or like what happened with your health?
So what ended up happening, because I had lost, because my weight loss was more extreme, like I didn't lose 200 pounds, but I lost a lot of weight in less time,
Right.
because it took me like a year and a half to lose that 200 pounds, and I lost nearly 100 pounds in 60 days.
Right.
So the weight loss was more extreme. What started happening to me was I had loose skin, and this is a healthy alternative, so we speak freely.
Hmm.
So I had loose skin, and right in my private areas, like the left side of my leg where my scrotum is, to the area right past my scrotum, like almost going into the anus area, skin was rubbing together.
Oh.
And when the skin was rubbing together, it created an open wound. I
Oh.
had hair in those areas, so hair was starting to get in those open wounds and was causing and had caused an infection.
Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm real funny about my hygiene. I didn't even know that it had happened until it had gotten pretty bad. Um,
Mm.
to where like there was a whole I didn't know how bad it was until I got in the hospital.
Mm.
But basically what started happening was it got infected, and I started, like, when I would sit down for long periods of time, there and get up, there would be this putrid smell. And I'm real crazy about my hygiene. And so
Mm.
I'm like, why do I smell like I'm like, what
Right, right,
is
right.
it?
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is I started experiencing this in like latter January, February. I went to New Orleans. I was in New Orleans during Super Bowl time because I was working there, and but I started noticing I was like experiencing a lot of pain.
Mm.
And I'm not one that runs to the doctor. I'm not one that takes pain
Right.
medication and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, I'm gonna get me some oregano oil. I'm gonna get black seed oil. I'm gonna get all of this stuff, these natural remedies, and make sure that I heighten up my intake of nutritional things. And I think what happened, I had gotten too far gone.
Mm.
I had a friend of mine has a sister-in-law that is a nurse practitioner, and she's real big on, making sure that you don't have whatever going on anymore, not just medicating you with all this medicine, but her thing is I want to make sure that you are completely done, like you're completely healed from whatever you're doing.
Right.
And so she had told me some stuff I can get over the counter. It worked in one area, but the area between my scrotum and my inner thigh, it was completely gone. It was
Mm.
too far gone. And I remember being in the bed, I would never forget it. I was just like, God, just take me out of my misery. I was like,
Dang.
literally, yeah, I was in so much pain. And from February up until April, I was getting less than 2 hours of sleep a day. I was getting less than 2 hours of sleep a day because the pain was so excruciating. It was so constant that I was in constant pain all the time. Um, I was smelling terribly. Like that smell, it was terrible. Like you could smell the infection.
Yeah, yeah.
And the crazy thing is, my friend had a dog when she had gotten a dog because she had bought a house. She had gotten a dog. The dog, before like the infection happened, the dog would come around me and all that kind of stuff. And then when I went to visit her one time, the dog started like barking at me and growling at me like as if it didn't know. Like I don't know. I don't know if the infection was like masking my scent that he
Uh-huh.
was used to, but like her dog would not come near me. He would growl and bark at me so bad. And she was like, "What's going on with the dog? Like that's Justin." And I'm like, "Well, maybe
Yeah.
you don't realize it is me."
Mm.
After all of that stopped, like he would come back around me again. But
Mm.
it was crazy. But I ended up in the hospital because the infection had gotten so bad it was about to become sepsis.
Yeah.
And so I was like, my mother had called me one night. It was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. She said, Justin, you are so heavily on me. I can't get you off me. What? Because I didn't tell her anything. She didn't know that this was happening. So from
Mm.
February to April, she didn't know any of this. Nobody knew any of this was happening. But she called, she said, I cannot shake you. I can't shake it. What is going on? I
Mm.
was laying in the bed in a fetal position praying to die. Because I was
Wow.
like, God, just put me out of my misery. I can't. I was like, I can't, I can't. And so she was like, you need to go to the doctor. And da, da, da. I was like, oh, I ain't gonna. She was like, you need to go to the doctor. And so, long story short, I went to urgent care. Urgent care, of course, she was like, you got to like, she was like, let me see. And when I had patted it and everything, it was brown, like a
Wow.
dark brown, and it stunk so bad. She said, there's nothing I can do for you here.
You got to go to the emergency room.
She said, when you leave out of here, go straight to the emergency room down the street. She said, because I'm thinking that you have sepsis. And she said, and occasion, and I'm like, what is that? And she said, it'll kill you.
Mm.
I said, oh, she said, it'll get in your bloodstream, it gets in your organs. She said, it'll kill you. When I got to the emergency room and they saw, they immediately put me in a room,
Yeah.
in the emergency room, pumped me full of antibiotics and all
Mm.
that kind of stuff. And I was still like in excruciating pain. But pumped me full of antibiotics and all that kind of stuff. I had gotten so bad. Like once I got, they had put me in a room in the emergency room area. Once my room was ready, they took me to my room. The nurses like looked at the wound. They was like, "Oh my God!" It was like raw. Like it was past, like they said, the red meat. It was the white meat. It was raw, or just a raw red wound
Yeah.
from my inner thigh all the way below my scrotum. It was red. It
Mm.
looked like some type of meat from a produce, from a butcher
Right.
shop.
Like the skin had been removed.
Yeah, that the skin was completely removed.
Yeah.
Though I had no skin, I had nothing but just the raw, whatever that red part is, that tissue. And she was like, So I'm gonna do an analysis of your body. She was like, I'm just gonna she turned me over. She said, "Oh my God." I said, "Well, what's happened?" Because I'm already in a panic. I've never stayed in a hospital.
Right.
So I was already in a panic. The inside of the folds of my buttocks was red, and there was like white shaping that was
Mm.
happening. I was
Jeez.
I had discharge from my belly button. So my belly button was leaking infection. It was
Wow.
terrible. And I said, I think this will be my last, like this weekend is gonna be my last weekend on Earth because I'm like,
Wow.
it was just so much happening with my body at one time. And I had never, I was like, well, what are you, oh my God, and for? She said, so she took a picture and it was like red sores on the inside of the fold of my behind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like completely white on the inside.
Mm.
So she was like, are you, she was like, wait a minute, let me take a picture of this and send it to the doctor. They did all kind of blood work. They was doing all kind of things to see what was going on. And thankfully, I didn't have sepsis, but I was right on the brink. Like, had I waited
Right.
another 24 hours, I would have had sepsis.
Mm.
Um, so I was right on the brink. They were pumping me with antibiotics like I don't know what, trying to kill that infection because it was everywhere. The lady said I've never seen anybody belly button leaking. Like I had fluid just coming out of my belly button, and she stuck something in my belly button. She said I'm not supposed to be able to go this far in your belly button. Like there's supposed to be a stop, like almost immediately once you try to put something in. She
Right.
said, she said, this is pretty bad. And so like they reached out to doctors and all kind of stuff. I had a wound specialist to come in and check
Mm-hmm.
me out and all that kind of stuff. Just to, be like, hey, this is what you need to start doing. And all that kind of stuff. And they removed all of the hair from that area of my body to kind of help the skin grow back. And they gave me some stuff to put on it. But I was in the hospital for 3 days. Um, from a Wednesday, I spent 3 nights and then I got out on that Saturday. So I went in
Mm.
on a Wednesday, gotta say Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. They discharged me that Saturday afternoon. That was a crazy time.
Oh
Like
my.
I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. You know, like when you very first started talking about it and you're talking about the wound and everything, I'm thinking bed sores. And
Mm,
like you hear about bed sores, like when just, when the skin is so important and
yeah.
it needs to move and it needs to be able to breathe and, all of these
Yeah.
things. And like it also reminded me of my grandfather. My grandfather ended up losing his leg and he had a similar experience where he had diabetes
Mm,
and his leg was beginning to die and he wouldn't go to the doctor and then it started to smell and then he waited
mm,
so long he got really really sick had to go to the hospital and he lost his leg and it's like in these instances this is where I do give hospitals and traditional medicine
yeah.
props because to be honest like I do believe there's probably a natural way that you could have dealt with it, like someone who was really like well versed, maybe, certain techniques and stuff, wrapping it certain, there's always a natural way, but it's like, bro, if you don't know, you don't know.
You know
And
you
it's
don't
like,
know.
if you would have came to me, I'd be like, go to the hospital. I don't know. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm glad that you ended up going. It just shows like how intuitive mothers are
Yeah.
and just, like how we're all connected as well because yeah, I've heard so many stories like that where somebody will be like literally getting ready to take their last breath for one reason or another, whether
Hmm.
they're really ill or whether they just feel like mentally they can't handle it anymore. And then somebody calls them because they was like heavy on their mind,
Yeah.
and it end up saving their life. Like, okay, had your mom not called you, because even still when she called you, you still really wasn't trying to go. Would you have just suffered in that pain? Like, would you have gone to the hospital?
I probably would have eventually gone, but I probably would have been in the sepsis stage. She did though, like, and I left by now. Like, she snitched on me because she called my pastor.
Mm.
and was like, Justin got something going on, and da 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 da, and he won't go to the hospital. My pastor reached out to me and said, Justin, go to the doctor. And it was something in his voice. It was like that authoritative dad thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, he's serious. I feel like if I don't go to the doctor, he's going to show up at my doorstep and drag me out of my. And so when he reached, I said, let me go to the doctor for real because
Mm.
now she getting more people involved, and now she done got my religious leader involved. So
Mm.
like this is go to the doctor. And
Yeah.
so when I went, I was like, oh my, I was literally on the brink of death.
Yeah.
And I probably could have, played with my mom and been like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'll go and just didn't go because hospitals and doctors literally terrify me. Seriously. When I went into the hospital, they could not get my heart rate under 100 until like that
Mm.
Thursday evening because I was just it was like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not okay. Y'all make me nervous. I've heard too many horror stories about malpractice. I don't trust y'all really. And so like it's just a combination of a whole bunch of stuff. They could not get my heart rate down for nothing.
Mm.
Finally, somewhere or another, I just relaxed and they my heart rate stayed at a level that it's supposed to be. But I probably would not have gone to the doctor had my mother not like taken extreme measures, I feel. But
Mm.
because this was on a Tuesday or Wednesday morning or something, I ended up going to urgent care and they was like, there's nothing I can do for you. Get out of here, go straight down the street. There's a hospital 2 miles down the road. Go there. Go to the
Yeah.
emergency room because she said, I think you might have sepsis. I said, ooh. And after she explained to me what it was, I was like, ooh. So I got in my car and drove down there, and sure enough, the guys, and they kept using the term sepsis. So I don't know if I was in the beginning stages of sepsis or if I was about to have sepsis or whatever, but they were pumping me with like IVs of antibiotics. They were giving
Mm.
me so many antibiotics on the 24, like the first 48 hours, I was hooked to a machine that was just pumping me with antibiotics.
Mm.
So yeah, it was
Man.
crazy.
Yeah, and I remember when I saw the picture on Facebook, I reached out to you and I'm like, man, I would have been heartbroken
Yeah,
because like, you know, it's just it wouldn't have made no sense to me. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like
right.
it just would have been all these questions and man, I am so glad that you pulled
Yeah,
through. We've experienced members passing before and
yeah.
it's like the questions, man. The questions
Like what
get me
happened?
the most because it's
Yeah,
like you just assume like okay they're in on their health and wellness like they understand things. You just be like what happened?
right.
So I'm just glad you're here to tell the story. I appreciate you sharing all of the detail because you already know how it goes, man. Like this story's gonna reach thousands of people. Somebody is gonna hear it that's going through the same thing, and they might get up and go to the hospital after listening to this video, you
Yeah,
know?
like I would definitely recommend. I am all for holistic medicine and holistic healing and all that kind of stuff. And I've experienced it, and I've have helped people. But at the same time, when it gets to that extreme,
Yeah.
you need to go to a hospital
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that was extreme.
Yeah.
When infection and like I would stand up and like the whole back of my pants or shorts, whatever I would wear, would be just wet
Yeah.
because of the infection, all this leaking and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, I thought maybe I was just sweating in those areas a lot because it had
Mm.
the the crazy thing is the wetness from me sitting down had no smell. But
Okay.
in my inner thigh, when I would stand up and like move around, it would be I've never smelled anything like it would be the
Like
most
rotting
pure.
flesh.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly it was. I was like, what in the world? And to realize that when I get to the hospital and like the doctor took a picture of it and showed me, I said, oh, like I had no skin there.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. And I've never experienced that. And then I get out of the hospital and end up with pneumonia. I said, this cannot be happening.
Bruh.
I don't, I don't get sick. Probably the worst thing that I've ever had was the flu back years ago, when like the swine flu was out or something. And
Mm,
at the time I was eating meat or something, and I had eaten at a fast food restaurant, and I ended up sick for 3 days after that. And found out that I had the flu. That was like the
mm,
worst thing. But for me to go from dealing with that almost dying and then having pneumonia, like I had gotten tested for STDs and I haven't been sexually active in God knows when. Um,
mm.
but there was like what STDs can sit in your body and da da da, and I've never experienced having an STD before, but they was like your STD can sit in your body. So I was like getting tested for anything from HIV to trichomosis,
Yeah.
like test the whole thing. So
Yeah.
all of that was clear. I don't have any type of cancers and all that kind of stuff, but I was just trying to figure out what is causing me to just jump from one thing, get out of the hospital. Days later, I'm ended up with this cough, and I'm coughing up mucus, and it was taken away from my sleep time, so I wasn't sleeping. Like the
Mm,
best sleep I had gotten was in the hospital, and so I started coughing and coughing up mucus and coughing up mucus, and after like 2 weeks, and I'm trying to like do ginger juices and all this kind of stuff to kind of kill it. After 2 weeks, I was like, let me go to urgent care again, and they did a full panel test of me. They was like, oh, you don't have no STDs, but you do have pneumonia. I'm
mm.
like, it's like, what does this
Can't
mean?
win for losing.
And so, of course, I ended up with antibiotics again,
Right.
to get all that stuff out. But then I was like, it was taking too long, but my immune system was at the bottom,
Mm,
because I had taken such a huge hit, with, battling. I can't remember what they called it, but it was actually like a disease. I can't remember what they called it, but it was like something that caused that skin to do what it did.
okay.
But after battling that, got completely, done with that, skin grew back and all that kind of stuff, to end up with pneumonia. Um, but I started taking oregano oil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after like 3 days of taking that oregano oil, I started noticing the coughing started stopping. The coughing started stopping. The coughing stopped. I was able to get better sleep,
Yeah.
but I had lost my voice.
Mm,
So it was like from one thing to the next. I couldn't talk. Um, I sing, so and every morning is like I wake up singing, like literally wake up singing. I
mm,
woke up one morning and had no voice. I broke down crying like a baby. Like you would
mm.
think that somebody in my family had died. That out of all the stuff I had gone through, me losing my singing voice, like just took me complete. I was like, oh God. I was like, what is
Yeah.
happening to me? Like the pneumonia was completely gone, but I just started being able to like a month or so ago to start back singing. This happened to me in April.
Wow.
Like literally the first beginning of July, my voice started, coming back and coming back. Like I started getting the power back in my voice. And so it's like from one thing to the next, like I was just I was going through it in a bad way.
Man.
But yeah, I couldn't talk. When I started back being able to talk a little bit, I sounded like Ernie from Sesame Street. Like literally, I was talking like this. And my brother, I was talking like my brother would call me. It was like, "What is wrong with your voice?" I said, "I don't know. Just stuff is." I was like, "Stuff is just happening to me." And then when my talking voice came back like normal, like it is now, I couldn't sing.
Mm.
So that was another challenge that I had, and so it was just a lot going on, a lot happening, and yeah, I was just like, ugh, like it's going from like one thing to the next.
Man. Man, man, man. That's
Yeah,
bro, it's so much here. I
yeah, it's a
kind
lot
of
to
feel
unpack.
like, huh?
It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there was like a domino effect here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I don't know exactly where it started, but it just seems like the receding gums, you didn't get the teeth pulled, and
Right.
like what I do know about like oral care,
Hmm.
a lot of people don't realize they think oral care is cosmetic. It's not.
No.
Like your teeth are connected to every organ and system in your body. And
Yep.
then if you just think about infection being this close to your brain, like
Yeah.
right here, and then got the blood goes right up into the brain. And so like it gets spread very fast, and who knows what combination of things led to this. And then once you get into the hospital, we all know why we don't like the hospital.
Right.
Now, like I said earlier, there's benefit, right, definitely to traditional doctors, but then there's the side effects.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking maybe part of the reason why you got the pneumonia was because of the antibiotics and the things they had you on in the hospital, and then that created more problems. And this
Yeah.
is why you just want to stay healthy, bro. Just stay
Yeah.
healthy, stay out of those arenas, because
Yeah.
um, and this is you're somebody who, has studied health and wellness, has
Yeah.
coached. And so it's like, if it can happen to you, it can happen to anybody. We all got to
Yeah.
look out, you
The
know?
crazy thing is antibiotics definitely breaks your body down because what
Right.
I noticed is like one day I got up out of bed. This was after I had gotten discharged from the hospital. I got up out of bed and it was like almost 7 days that I had been on antibiotics because they gave me like antibiotics for 20 days or something like that. It
Hmm.
was I can't remember, but like I had to take an antibiotic in the morning and then an antibiotic that night. Um and so I had gotten up and I had a full like ceiling to floor mirror that was like my closet. So like you slide it back and it's your closet. But I was walking to the bathroom and I looked and literally scared myself. My mother was in town, and so she was visiting me. I had like I looked like a lizard.
Mm.
The antibiotics, I was having such a bad reaction to the antibiotics, to like my skin on my face, and it was just on my face. It had gotten hard,
Mm.
callous, and it was like discolored.
Mm.
And so I said, well, now I got to walk around like these young boys with a face mask on
Right.
because it's showing nothing but my eyes because my entire face was scaly
Mm.
from the antibiotics. And so when my mother saw me, my mother has a lot of experience in the medical field because she used to work in the medical field. She said, "What's wrong with your face? You got a chemical burn." I said, "We just not going to talk about it because I felt myself coming into a depressive state."
Mm.
I said, "We're not going to talk about it." And so what I started doing though was like this. I noticed this on a Friday. By that Sunday, my face was looking like it looks now.
Okay.
I took coconut oil and put drops of oregano oil in the coconut oil and rubbed it together and put it on my face.
Gotcha.
Face on my skin, my face on my skin on my face looks better now than it has ever.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that, and that oregano oil, the oregano oil, I love it. But it cleared my face. I'll never forget. That Sunday morning, I was washing my face, and that all that hard skin and stuff was just coming off on the towel, like
Mm-hmm.
until there was nothing left on my. I said, "Oh goodness, this was a quick, this was a very quick turnaround." But yeah, it like melted it right off of my face, and once it got back to my like regular skin, it was so soft, so smooth. And I was like, okay, I need to do more research on this oregano oil because I just heard people talk about it, and the farmers market that I go to sells it, and so
Okay.
I can really literally make my own now. But I was like, I bought it out of from another health store, and just started taking it orally, but I didn't know that it could be used topically too,
Mm-hmm.
but with another oil. So I would do coconut oil because if you put it on, it burns.
Oh, it's gonna burn.
Yeah, it's gonna burn. So I would pair it with coconut oil. But to see that within 3 days and my entire face was looking crazy.
Yeah.
From that Friday to that Sunday, all of that hard, callous, dead skin or whatever was gone.
Bro, the longer I talk to you, the
Oh,
more this it's like I feel like we're on a
yeah.
haunted hayride. You
Yeah.
know, like you wanna like you taking me. It's like lizard face and
Yeah, it's
sepsis and
crazy, man.
golly, man,
Yeah. Lizard face, sepsis, pneumonia, no voice. Yeah,
bruh. Like you do not look like what you've been through.
I do not.
Like,
Not now.
man,
Yeah.
man.
And I had gotten to a point I had told a friend of mine, I said, I just want to cut my hair. She said, why? I said, I don't know. I said, I said, I'm just gonna cut my hair off. And I feel like I have an emotional connection to my locks. So for me to say that I wanted to cut my hair was crazy because
Yeah,
I love having locks. I didn't think I would like having locks, but I love having locks. And so
yeah,
I was like, I'm going to cut it off and I'm going to get it fade again. She said, not you in, so not you in here acting like you just down and out and destroyed. What, just go to bed. That's that medication talking.
yeah.
I laugh about it now, but literally they had given me like some stuff for coughing. I'm not sure that it actually worked because I still coughed all night.
Hmm.
But one of the side effects was like you hallucinate and all this kind of stuff. And I had some of the craziest hallucinations. That's why I'm
Mm.
like, I do not play with this modern medicine. Like you
Yeah,
take it when it's like extreme and you need it.
yeah.
But I just don't be taking modern med. That thing had my brain in a loop in like a tizzy.
Mm.
And I was having crazy thoughts, crazy dreams, crazy like seeing stuff, hearing like it was wild. And so I said, yeah, but when I started talking about cutting my hair, I knew I was losing it because I was like, I love having my locks. And so me talking about cutting my hair, I was going through something crazy
Yeah.
because I never thought about cutting it since I had it.
Mm.
So yeah, it was crazy.
Oof. Man, that is this is I did not expect this. Not even close, man. Like, because you told me a little bit about, what you had experienced, like literally
Yeah,
like the tip of the iceberg. I did not. Um,
yeah. I experienced some crazy stuff. I woke up one morning, like I was asleep, and I woke up. I always wake up around the 3 o'clock hour in the morning. It's like clockwork. My eyes come open, I know it's 3 o'clock. Within that hour. And I would just walk around the house. I got up one morning walking, and it was like I was transported to another place.
mm,
I didn't see my, I did not see my bedroom when I woke up. Like I woke up and it was like I was in the middle of a street.
mm,
And the street that I was in the middle of is like when I had visited London. So right there where that London Bridge is with a big old bend clock and there's like a body of water. Literally, that was like the place that I saw. And
okay.
I'm walking around my apartment just like trying to hold because I knew that I wasn't in London. And so I'm like trying to hold on to the wall to make sure I don't run into a wall or run into my door or something.
Right.
And like I'm walking around, and literally the whole time I was walking around, it was like I was in that street.
That's
And I
crazy.
kept like rubbing my eyes and doing all this stuff, and I still did not see my house. I saw like I was standing in that street in London. And then all of a sudden I came out of there and I was standing in my living room by that point.
Mm,
And I'm like, okay, so I just turned around and went back to bed because I said, this is weird.
yeah.
And so like having experiences like that and just uh, hearing voices, like hallucinate, like that medication had me in a crazy way. I would be asleep. And at the time I was still like in the beginning phases I still had like pneumonia and was coughing up phlegm.
Hmm.
I would be asleep and like the whole time I would be asleep, it was like I was in a grocery store. This is gonna sound crazy. Like I was in a grocery store and every time they were scanning an item, I knew that it was time for me to cough up mucus. So like every time you heard beep,
Right.
I start coughing. And I'm like, this is stupid. Um, I had lost control of like using the bathroom. And
Mm,
so thankfully there was a bathroom in my room. So when I had to go, like there was no holding it. When I had to go, I had to get up and go. I was, and because of the antibiotics dry your throat out so bad,
mm,
I would sleep with my canister of water, like in the bed with me because it was too much for me to reach over to the nightstand. Like I had to have it in the bed with me so that when my throat would get dry and it would happen, my throat would never it never got right until after pneumonia was gone. Like I was
yeah.
sipping the water almost every 20 minutes while I'm trying to sleep. So just sipping water, making sure that my throat don't get dry.
Wow.
I couldn't I couldn't hold my urine. So when I had to go to the I was running to the bathroom and soon as I would hit the bathroom, it was coming out.
Mm,
And that was urinating and defecating. Like I could not hold nothing. One when I had stopped taking the antibiotics and the antibiotics, I guess was like passing through me, my urine was neon green.
mm.
It looked like something from a like that green on that thing behind you, whatever. I'm not sure what that
Yeah,
is.
the light. It's my
That light.
yeah.
It was literally that color. And I said, what is happening? Thankfully, my mother works in the medical field. She said, Justin, you passing antibiotics. She said, so give it a couple of days. And I couldn't drink enough water. I was drinking almost 2 gallons of water a day, and my urine was still that green.
Yeah. That's
And
crazy.
I said, what in the world is go is going on? And there have been a few times I literally have no shame at this point. I've been in the hospital and people have seen all the intimate parts of me that nobody should be seeing. So at this point, I can just bear all. But like there would be points like I would keep like bottles in my car because in Atlanta
Mm.
traffic, you sitting in traffic, you can't get to a bathroom. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to get. I can't hold it.
Gotta do something.
So I got to do something. I was going into QTs pulling out, bless them workers' heart. I was taking a whole bunch of paper towels and stuff from QT, get buying hand sanitizers. When I got to go, I got to go. I can't hold it. Like I had lost all the stuff when it comes to like being able to hold it until you make it to the bathroom. I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like the muscles were dead or something. Then I
Yeah.
couldn't. So when I had to go, I had to go. Like I've been driving down the interstate, you peeing
Yeah.
because I couldn't hold it, and so I would like get hand sanitizers and paper towels or whatever, and do what I needed to do to clean up afterwards. But when I had to go, I had to go. So like I went
Wow.
through a lot of dramatic and traumatic stuff.
Bro, like this sounds like something that you would experience in your like maybe 70s, 80s, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
90s. Like, not in your 30s. It's just
yeah,
it's really wild how and then like I think this is really interesting because we understand a lot of this is coming from the drugs and like people they'll put you on, 10 drugs.
yeah,
Like, and then you've got all this stuff wrong with you, and you really don't know what's going on.
yeah.
Okay, you might know because you're like more aware, but like
Mhm.
imagine just somebody who's not, they don't study the body, they don't, and then they just think, oh my God, I'm just getting sick. One thing after another is breaking down, and they're just taking the medication, and medications make them worse and worse. And that's why I'm just like, man, don't even get in that cycle.
Don't get in that cycle. And then not to mention that thankfully it didn't happen to me. But you can get addicted.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Um I said now they gave me so much medication that I can almost start a mini pharmacy at this point. But
Right.
I was just like, this is absolutely crazy. I mean, on heavy like oxycodone or something. I never took the matter of fact, it's still stapled in the bag that I got in front of. I was like, I'm not taking this. um 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and like all of this, and you can't buy that over the counter.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a prescription for that.
Mm-hmm.
um the only medication that I took were the antibiotics and the stuff for coughing that to me it didn't work because I coughed literally all night. You're supposed to take
Right.
it before bed or whatever. I coughed all night, so I'm like, well, I'm not sure what this is doing because besides causing me to hallucinate and
Right.
have weird dreams and visions. But yeah, that's just not a cycle that I care to get in, and I don't recommend anybody else to get in. Not to mention what it's doing to your body,
Right, right.
what it's doing to your brain. Like this stuff alters your to me, it alters your chemical makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because for me to take something that causes me to see stuff and hear voices and hallucinate, that's not normal.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, I don't know how people just get in the cycle of taking medication like that, especially that hard stuff that cause you to have. I don't like not being in control of my motor skills. So when I feel like something is altering my brain and I can't think properly and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I it turns me off.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but like some
Me
people they
too.
love it. Yeah, some people they just love being high and in Zaza land, and I'm like I don't know how you live there, and I don't know, but whatever. Different people are different, but for
Yeah.
me, I no no
Justin, bro, this is heavy, bro.
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like we might have to unpack this again. I don't know. Like I need a break. This is a lot,
because I
bro.
haven't
And
even gotten back to like the gym thing yet.
this is
Yeah,
so much. I feel
it
like
is
we
a
need a
lot.
part two on this one.
We,
Like, golly,
we
man.
we can definitely do a part two because it's a lot. Because I haven't even gotten back, and I've started back working out. I haven't worked out since October, so there's that whole journey. Then when
Oh,
I
so while you was doing the 60 days, you weren't in the gym during that time.
no, I was not in the gym.
Okay. But you're in the gym now.
I'm in the gym now. I just started back working out in July, like
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you
before my birthday, because my birthday was on the 14th. I think the week before, yeah, it was like the week before my birthday, like the 7th or something like that. I went and signed up at the gym. Of course, I couldn't do anything working out while I was trying to, heal with all that kind of stuff.
right.
But that's been a whole journey within itself. I'm nowhere near as strong as I was then, but of course, my body is trying to snatch itself back. But
Right.
yeah, so there's that whole spiel.
Now, one question I did have, like, and I'm asking you what you think what your thoughts are. You obviously, when you lost the weight the first time, there was a couple different elements than how you approached it this time. I think if I remember, you did a lot of dry fasting the first time.
I did
Like
a lot of dry
that
fasting
was
first.
like pretty much. What do you think? What do you think about how come you developed the loose skin this time versus last time? Like, because you lost more last time, but do you do you? Because I'm thinking it was the juicing. You did a lot of you did a lot of juicing.
I juiced for I had never done a 30-day. I've never juiced that much at all.
Yeah. I I
There's
have this running theme about juicing, and I've said it before in other video. I'm not against juicing. I think
mm,
juicing is a great tool. We juice. But
yeah,
I think like when you do it too long, it does something where the skin doesn't tighten up like it normally does.
yeah, 'cause it does not. Because I had loose skin in the first beginning, but it wasn't to that extreme.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, my body makeup was different then than it is now, and I don't know if it's because I was in my 20s versus me being in my 30s now. That's the thing. I was working out when I was doing all of that dry fasting and stuff then, and I wasn't working out at all now.
Right.
So there's that element. Like you said, the juicing, although it is very nutritious for you and all that kind of stuff, it could. I feel like with me losing that much weight that fast, it kind of sort of maybe it played a part into me having more loose skin.
Mm.
I'm not really sure, but I do know that there are elements because I was dry fasting then and working out and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't working out just strictly, doing the hybrid fasting like I was talking about, where I was
Yeah.
juicing, dry fasting, or water fasting, and
Mm.
so and not working out at all, because I noticed I didn't have any pain or anything sitting down or all that kind of stuff in my beginning. I had gotten to a point where sitting down was painful. because
Mm.
I had nothing back there, no cushion, no nothing. It was like I
I
was
just was
sitting on bone. Yeah, so I was like, I had so
sitting on
yeah that
bones.
yeah just feel like I was sitting on bones, and a doctor told me, matter of fact, my chiropractor was like, Justin, it's because you're not working out, and yeah, so and if you want the pain to stop, then you need to do some type of squats or something to kind of build that muscle back.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah.
But so there's a lot of elements, but I had not worked out since October, and I just got back in the gym in the beginning of July.
Mm. Mm. So from this point forward, because I think I know you were eating, you came off, you was eating the raw food and stuff. So you're in the gym now. What are you eating now? What's your water intake look like now? What's the new norm gonna look like? What are you working on?
The new norm at this moment. So for the last week, I've been on fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds strictly. I've noticed um a higher level of energy.
Hmm.
What I did notice now, I'm not sure, because I did come off the vegan diet after getting sick because I had gotten down to like 166 pounds. People thought I was sick. I kept dropping weight.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, the only thing that I know that's going to cause me to gain weight is to eat a piece of salmon or shrimp or a piece of chicken or something. And
Hmm.
so that's why I took out, because I operate in integrity. And so I changed my Instagram name from the Vegan Savage or something, because I'm like, I'm eating meat right now. So this I'm not big on, saying something that I'm not doing.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so, but it took me almost a month to gain the weight back, which is crazy because it normally takes no time for me to gain weight. But whatever trauma, all the trauma that my body had been through, like I was eating rice and bread and all kind of stuff, like stuff that I knew that was going to put weight on me, and
Hmm.
so I thought I would step on the scale and would be like a pound and a half lighter. So I don't know, like, and I was eating. I'm not eating half as much now as I was then, but
Right.
like I was eating trying to gain the weight, because like I had gotten down to 166, 100 me, 5'9", 166 with no muscle because I wasn't working out or anything. I did look sick. My hair had grown all over my face. I wasn't getting a haircut because I have my locks are high top, so I
Mm.
had hair growing all on the side. I um
Oh,
I looked like a caveman, and
yeah.
so I was like, I'm trying to eat a trying to I'm like, I know meat is going to put weight on me because all the stuff that's in it, that's going to whatever. But then what I noticed is when I started back eating meat, I had acne. My
Mm.
I had started redeveloping acne. And I said I'm gonna have to come off of this, or try something different. But my new normal now, I'm in the gym twice a day. So I go early in the morning, and then like around 6, 7 p.m. Um, and so I've been on like mangoes. I eat like 4 mangoes or so in the morning going to the gym. I'm eating a lot of fruit, um, peanuts and walnuts and pumpkin seeds and all of that kind of stuff. There's a lady that has a shop right next door to the gym where she like makes like holistic smoothies and juices and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So when I want to be lazy, I'll leave the gym and go there and grab a smoothie that has no sugar, it's just all natural fruit and vegetables in
Mm.
the smoothie.
Mm.
Or like I'll grab a juice. Like she has like all the stuff, like the watermelon juice and the soursop juice and detox tonics and all kind of stuff. And so I'll go next door to her and grab like a juice or a smoothie or something like that. I'm back to the natural state of eating again. So like literally fruit, vegetable, nuts, and seeds. Um, When I first went to the gym, I could not lift the bar. I went from being able to bench press. I think my last bench press before last year, before October, was 315. I was bench pressing 315 and like squatting
Wow.
405, squatting 405. I barely could squat my body weight when I started back
Yeah,
at the
well, makes
gym.
sense. Yeah.
I couldn't lift the bar. Um, So I was literally over there in the 5 pounds, like doing curls and stuff like that. The 5 pounds felt like 50 pounds.
Mm,
Um, I tried to like squat with the bar. That felt like I had 600 pounds on my back. It was
mm.
just crazy that I had lost all of my strength, all of my muscle mass, and all that kind of stuff. But the body is very interesting. I've been working out a month now, and I got my muscle back, my legs are looking good again, my arms are looking good again. And I'm not trying to get big.
Right,
Um,
right.
I was looking for size in the last iteration. I actually want to stay slim with muscle. So I'm working with, I'm doing that. I'm getting stronger. I'm not as strong as I want to be just yet. But I don't think that lifting crazy amounts of weight is even sensible. I like lifting extreme heavy weights. So I'm not trying to get back to bench pressing 315, but I would
Got
like to get 105 off of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so I'm at 105. I'm able to, bench press 105 and get two good reps out of that. But it's been a slow process, but it really hasn't been that slow.
No, it's fast
Um,
actually.
yeah, I'm like, it's only been a month. And so, but now I'm able to like deadlift 115, squatting 135,
Yeah.
which is just the 245 weights, but I wasn't even able to squat the bar or my own
Right.
body. So I'm making sure that, this time around I'm not trying to be, this big macho gym crazy person that's lifting all of this crazy weight. I just want to be healthy and maintain
Mm-hmm.
a healthy weight, maintain a healthy size. Right now my weight I'm sitting at 183. Um and I was told for my age and height that I'm actually overweight, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, you 5'9", 183. You need to be around. Um, Actually, where I was is
We
where I
were
actually,
165, yeah,
yeah,
168.
where I
Yeah.
should have stayed. But I don't know if I want to get down to be that small anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
It just
but
depends on how you do it. There's a lot of factors,
yeah, yeah, and nutrition is a big thing. Sleep, making sure that I get adequate sleep. Now I'm averaging around 9 hours of sleep. But when my body tells me to, Justin, don't do no work today, just chill out, I'm learning to do that.
mm-hmm.
Um, One night I came home or went to bed at 7:30 p.m. And when I woke up, it was almost 9 o'clock the next day.
AM.
Yeah, 9 o'clock a.m. And so I was like, well, my body must really
You've been
needed to
through a
rest.
lot, man.
Yeah, I've been through a lot of trauma. I
Yeah.
get regular chiropractor adjustments because people don't know chiropractor, like a chiropractor, a good one will save you a whole lot of money and
Mm-hmm.
save you a whole lot of pain.
Yeah.
Because I had ended up with a sciatic nerve problem, not even go into much detail with that. But like the pain woke me up out of my sleep, and I text my chiropractor. I was like, "You working today because I'm coming to see you," and she said, yeah, and so she hit one of them somewhere on my back, and the pain was gone immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get regular chiropractic adjustments. Massages are very important.
Yeah.
Like getting massages and like even sitting in saunas and all that kind of stuff. I'm making sure that I'm not just worried about my exterior body,
Mm-hmm.
but like what I'm putting in my body, making sure that there's adequate rest. Because you can work out in the gym 20 hours a week, and if you're not resting, you're not going to see progress.
Right. Yeah.
So proper rest, getting adequate sleep, and taking a lot of water, getting sunlight. Um,
Mm.
all of this stuff plays a part into your health and wellness as well.
Yeah, man, definitely with everything that you just, I mean, and bro, this is all happening within half a year time. Like this is
Yeah,
not a long duration.
no,
So for everything your body went through, everything that you experienced emotionally, physically, the trauma, yeah, your body's gonna take some time to recover.
yeah,
And you're going to see the composure, your composition is going to change. And so, if you ever decide, yeah, you do want to, get back down to that one, let's say 170,
mhm,
you'll look different because
yeah,
how you looked when you got there originally, that was like wartime. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and yeah,
yeah. And you had a lot of stuff going on, which you really kind of figured out later on. And
yeah,
so, I think when it comes to weight, everybody's got their opinion. How, aesthetics matter. If you've always been a little bit bigger and you get really small, you're gonna look like Skeletor. We all,
mhm,
perception is one thing, but also by the same token, your health. I mean, part of why you lost that weight in the first place was because you were in poor health, and that the gums and everything that was going on, it showed you outside of just aesthetics that you were in poor health. And so, yeah, I mean, it takes time to recover, rejuvenate, and get the blood flowing, get the blood healthy and clean. And
mhm,
when you have an infection like that, your blood gets infected. Like
yeah,
so you're gonna present different, but I think you got it now. Like it's really just you want to maintain health, wellness, like just because like everything that you've been through, it's like nothing is worth that. Like as
right.
far as the eating out, eating whatever you want, the addiction. Oh, I wanted to ask you, so at this point, how do you feel towards candy, especially the airheads? Or do you still feel that draw, or do you feel like you've kind of severed that bond?
I've severed it. I've not had airheads in a minute. Um, I mean, I've had them this year, but
Hmm.
like a couple of months ago, and especially during the time that I was trying to recover, I wasn't taking in no type of sugar at all, like nothing. But I did have like a month ago, like before I joined the gym, I was in the store and I said, I want candy. It's like
Mm.
Majin Buu, me want candy. But I was like, I want candy and I'm gonna get candy. And so I bought a pack of Airheads that had the six in it.
Uh-huh.
After I ate them, I developed like white heads on the inside of my mouth.
Mm.
Like it was really weird. And I said, that's from all that sugar.
Yeah.
And I haven't had one since. And this was like in June. I
Okay.
was like, yeah, I was like, so like now, if I'm going to go into like a convenience store to pay for gas or whatever, instead of me going to the candy, I might grab, especially if I don't have anything like on me, I'll grab a cup of fruit
Mm.
or I'll grab a bag of peanuts or something that is much more healthier and makes more caloric sense to me than
Mm.
candy because it's nothing but sugar and chemicals.
And dies and
Yeah, and dyes and all that kind of stuff. But
crazy.
a pack of airheads would hate to see me come. When I'm telling you, airheads, gummy worms, and it could be the sour ones, the regular ones, gummy, but any type of
You like
gummy.
sweetest fish?
I've never had those before.
Oh man, that used to be my thing.
I've never had those before, but I
Oh, I love some
definitely,
sweetest fish.
I don't know what it was about. I said, I'm almost 40 and acting like a 12-year-old. Like
Yeah.
candy, oh it was bad. Like like I said in my last iteration, it was like the cookies and the big bag of M&Ms. I can't tell you the last time I had an M&M.
Mm.
And I ate M&Ms almost every day, and I would buy the family pack from the store that was
Mm.
like $12 or something,
Yeah.
and would eat just sit and eat them, and then I'm like, oh, today's Monday. I've ate a whole bag of M&Ms. I need to go back to the store so I can have some for Tuesday.
Right.
It's
Dang.
crazy.
Yeah.
But then yeah, my thing became like the candy. But now I haven't had candy or anything like that in a is it's been at least since June the last time I had like Airheads or any type of candy.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I kind of sort of But the craving of that kind of left. I drink. I don't do it as often because I'm like, well, your liver got to have a break at some point, taking all these herbs and stuff. But I took a bottle of sour. It's the sour sop bitters.
Uh-huh.
Um, for like the month of July, actually, I was drinking sour sop bitters every day, and I have not had cravings for like junk food or anything since then. Actually,
Mm. Okay.
yeah,
Being able to get them cravings under control is so helpful because, look, my whole thing is, and I still stand by this, like get the cravings under control, and then if you decide to have it, it's a decision versus
right.
being, compelled.
Yeah,
But also, like when your body gives you the, like when it responds very poorly, it's like, bro, you just got to let it go.
yeah.
Because, I always tell the story of the last time I had a Hostess cupcake,
Mm,
which, back in the day in high school, like I always had a little bit of money. So I would stop at the corner store, get a sucker, some Little Debbie's, a juice,
mm,
whatever. And I love that stuff. And then I went on my wellness journey, and it's been years since I had it. And I decided I'm gonna have a Hostess cupcake. And I didn't have like a foul reaction to it
mm.
as far as like skin eruptions or something like that. But my taste buds
Yeah, it
did.
don't taste the
My
same.
my taste buds was like chemicals, danger, Will Robinson, trifling like,
Yeah,
and I didn't even finish it, which is crazy. Like I always eat my food, bro. Like
mm,
if I bought it, I'm finishing it because that's like one of my things when I was
yeah,
growing up. Like we had to finish all our food. And so me throwing that away was huge and I never touched it again. So
yeah. Like the crazy thing is, back last year, even though I wasn't eating that well, but like certain stuff, like I had went to get an Oreo cookie, and I bought a pack and I ate it, and I said, this do not taste like the Oreo that I'm used to. I said,
hmm
I said, it tastes like chemicals.
yeah.
And so like a lot, that's what stopped me from eating like all them cookies and stuff. But that doggone candy, them airheads, at this point I can do an airhead commercial.
For sure.
And then they came out with like different flavors. So you got the original, then they came out with a different flavor of paradise, tropical paradise or something. So I was eating them. It was it was crazy. The amount of candy I was eating.
Mm.
And then like I said, the coconut cake from Publix, I was munching them down real bad. And the Oreo cake, and then the Oreo, I don't know how they made it, but it was so delicious. And then the icing had Oreo crumbles in it. Was horrible. And so I knew even out
Yeah.
there, I said, yeah, the parasites done got the better of me. And because it was to the point where I would try to say, oh, I'm not going to do it. And it was like I couldn't stop myself from doing
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
So, and people don't believe it, but like the parasites, they definitely mess with your brain cells and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Because
Neurotoxin.
when you cannot control your own cravings, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't even stop myself from doing like so when I did the 3 day fast, it was literally like like I shut myself in the house.
hmm
Like I didn't go anywhere for those 3 days because had I did, I knew I was going to break the fast because I was going to go to that store that was right down the street and get some type of sugar.
Mm.
And so like I stayed at home those 3 days, and then after those 3 days I went out, but the cravings were
Mhm.
under control by then. Yeah.
Man, hey, what a roller coaster of an interview, man. Like
Man, yeah,
Well, we might. I mean, I might have to bring you on live. I know the reaction because it's a lot of AHA OGs that are going to see this and just be,
uh-huh.
just happy to see you. And I'm sure the comment section is going to be crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, maybe we'll do a follow up and we'll do a live like we did, before, and just,
yeah,
if people have more questions. But man, you definitely. I'm grateful that you're here to tell the story.
yeah.
I'm grateful that you were able to get things under control. I'm grateful that your mom did what she did. Like,
Mhm.
bro, this is a movie. Like, this is literally like I feel like I just got finished watching a movie, a feature
Yeah,
film. And I'm glad that right now we're watching the happy ending,
I'm
as
telling you.
life goes on. And prayerfully we never have to have this type of talk again because
Right.
Yeah, this is a scary stuff, man. It's traumatizing.
Yeah,
But as
yeah,
always, like on the channel, you know what I mean? Like one thing that is special about the brand and the message is people are so genuine. And when you're genuine, number one, it's a release, which I'm not saying you need it. I know that
yeah,
you're good with your mental health and stuff, but like it's a release and then other people who are like maybe trapped in the closet or they feel like they don't have an outlet or whatever, like they get to bond and be like, oh, there's somebody else experiencing what I'm experiencing. Bro, this video is gonna help a lot of people. So I'm so grateful for you coming and sharing.
yeah, absolutely. And I definitely appreciate the invitation of me coming. I still get inboxes to this day. Like I just watched your, I'm like, golly, that video was how long ago? Like I just watched the video.
Eight,
It
nine
was so,
years?
yeah, it's like it's so inspirational. And thank you so much. And I get hit up. So I knew, at some point, I was going to snap back, because I had started getting like inboxes around like Thanksgiving time last year. Just randomly people would be like, "Oh, I just finished watching your video," and da da da. I was like, "Well, ain't much I can do." Well, I mean, I can give you the information, but it's like one of those things where you go to the gym, you want a trainer that's actually fit and not a trainer
Right,
that
right,
pop belly.
right.
And so it's like I can tell you what you need to do, but I kind of sort of don't do it myself. So do what I say, and in this moment, do what I say, and not as I
Not what
do.
I do.
And so I just kind of felt weird giving health advice to people when I had fallen off the bandwagon myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the thing is to start pay attention to pay attention to everything,
Hmm.
because there were subtle things that I started reverting back to. So like me gaining some of my weight back and all that kind of stuff didn't just happen overnight. There were
Hmm.
subtle things that were leading up to the weight gain. Pay attention to everything.
Hmm.
And you'll be able to, kind of catch yourself before you get too far gone.
Yeah.
Because me being almost 300 pounds was for me too far gone. I
Yeah.
started off originally at 405. I had dropped the weight and then had gained up to 285. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and it's noticeable. And I had a closet full of clothes that I couldn't wear anymore. I would try to put something on. And I was like, I knew I had gained some weight, but I didn't know I had gained this much weight where these pants
Right.
won't even come up past my kneecaps.
Right.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Or I put on the shirt and I look like Mr. Brown. What are we doing? And it's like, and you see it happen and be like, I'll get back in the groove, something. But then it just keeps progressing further and further. And
Hmm.
so, for me, I definitely had gotten comfortable and complacent and all that kind of stuff. And of course, eating when using food as a coping mechanism and not as nutrition,
Right.
especially experiencing like me and my dad didn't really have a relationship, but that was still a loss that I
Hmm.
didn't know that would hit me as deep as it did. So losing him, losing both of my grandparents, losing my uncle, like there was just a lot happening.
Yeah.
And so instead of finding other ways to cope, you anything fried and sugary
Yeah. Yeah.
was a coping mechanism. So yeah,
Yeah.
just pay attention to everything.
Yeah. Very, very wise words. And I'll say this. I understand where you're coming from as far as like feeling like you're not walking the walk. But one thing that I do know is you've done it. You have that experience. It's kind of like, those baseball coaches or even football coaches that
Yeah,
used to play, they don't play no more. Their body's out of shape, but they could get you in shape. Like,
yeah,
so it's, I think traditionally speaking, that makes sense. If somebody doesn't have the outcomes that you desire, don't listen to them. But also by the same token, somebody who has the knowledge from experience,
right,
regardless of where they're at, they can still be very beneficial. So it's kind of like you take it with a grain of salt. But
yeah.
listen, man, I'm glad you're back on the scene. I'm sure people are going to be hitting your inbox again and or continue hitting it. It is crazy to hear that video is still, people are, I just saw you. You know what I mean? It's so much time has passed, but it
Right.
doesn't feel like that long. But like
Wasn't.
my life is completely different from what it was when we very first interviewed. Obviously, your life is completely different. So much has happened. But it's so cool to, man, be able to come back together, have this conversation, and continue to share this gift of wealth. So, or health, I should say.
Yeah.
So anyway, make sure if you guys like this, man, hit that. Even if you didn't like it, hit the like button. I need likes on this video, man. Like I want to make sure people see this video. I'm gonna come up with the title's gonna be crazy. Like the title's gonna be. I'm gonna spend some time. I'm gonna go in my kitchen and start working, whipping it up. The title's got to be crazy. But if you guys haven't already subscribed, Justin, I want to say if you're not already a part of AHA communities, come and join us over there on AHA communities. And for
You have
everybody
a
who's
website now,
listening,
right?
bro, we got a membership. It's a free
Okay.
membership. It's kind of like it's basically like a Facebook group, but it's like on our own platform, so we
Okay.
don't get censored and all that type of stuff. And yeah, it's free for everybody. So yeah, I want to invite you and everybody else to come join AHA communities. I give out free guides. So I just put out our 80 and 90 guide, which is it's one of our premium guides. What I would use, if we did like a coach-led challenge, I put
Mhm.
together these premium guides. So I did this for the 80 and 90, and it's designed to help people go from, you got 100 pounds to lose or whatever the case may be, to really get you going and teach you how to lose that weight and maintain it. And it does it over a gradient so that you're not doing it too fast. You're not, shocking your body, having too much detox stuff. And I give away. I've got a couple free guides and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's it, man. As always, the application of knowledge is power, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.